Hey guys, how are you? So a quick little vlog. So somebody sent me a DM with regards to starting up a YouTube channel. And this is an interesting business lesson. And I think a lesson about freelance, not I think, it is a lesson about becoming a freelancer and about career. So he was asking me some questions about editing software and so on, but that's not the point. He had an expectation about specific numbers he was going to hit within a time frame. So he said by the end of 2019 he wanted to have 10,000 subscribers. Now he has nothing right now. He has no subscribers now. And then he said by the end of 2020 he was going to have 100,000 subscribers, and away you go. Now it's cool, and you should have certain long-term goals, but you shouldn't try to hit specific numbers like that. Now, this is a mistake that you see being taught in business schools, where they have people do business plans, and then they have people come up with target numbers that they're going to hit. And it's all fictitious. It's all imagination, because setting specific target numbers when you are just starting out a business, whether it be setting up a YouTube channel or setting up a freelance business or setting up any business, it's fictitious because it's literally impossible to be able to set an expectation of a specific number, whether it be sub count, subscription count, or sales you're going to make, or how many clients you're going to acquire in a period of time, because you have no baseline. Now, projections make sense when you have a company that's about 3 years old or more. But prior to that, it's too young. Everything is still, the business is still too young. It's still in flux. You have no track record. You have no expectations. Your reputation is still minimal. So all this type of stuff still has to be established before you can do any projections. And what happens when you set hard numbers like that, you're setting yourself up for emotional failure, which is not a good thing. You have to be very cognizant of the emotional impact of things. What you should do instead is make the goals the process. So for example, if you were learning to code, the goal was not to become a JavaScript expert within 6 months. The goal should be, I am going to do 5 Studio Web lessons today with the quizzes. Each lesson has a video, so 5 videos today with the quizzes every day, 4 days a week or 5 days a week, something like that. Something that you can succeed in right away, something that you can get some payoff right away, emotional payoff. Because if you say your goal is to become an expert JavaScript programmer, until you are there, you're not getting any payoff, right? Because your goal has not been met. But if you give yourself daily goals that are achievable, that push the ball forward to your ultimate goal, to become a JavaScript programmer, for example, then you're going to be in a much better mood, and you're going to get better feedback, emotional feedback, which is going to encourage you to want to do more, which is going to make the whole process much more fun and enjoyable. This plays out the same way when you're starting a business. When you're starting a business, you want to have goals that are process-oriented rather than targets, especially in the beginning. So it might be, today I'm going to spend an hour a day on improving the website, or I might do 5 cold calls to reach out to clients, or I might, stuff like that. If you want to learn specifics about going into business and entrepreneur stuff, freelance stuff, I got my courses on that. That being said, just what you want to take away is you want to set goals that are process-oriented so you can get payoffs. You can actually accomplish these goals on a daily basis, or at least a weekly basis, so you're encouraged emotionally to want to move forward. Going back to business and projections, it's impossible to make projections when you don't have a baseline for your business. So I'm going to go way back in time. And with my very first business, I started my first business when I was 18. Well, officially when I was 18, but I started working on the whole thing when I was 17. And we were forced to do the business plans and come up with projections, and none of that makes any sense. And it's not just my experience. Everybody I know has ever been in business. I've been doing this for, a long time. But after about 3 years, when you've established a business, 3 to 5 years it typically takes. After about 3 to 5 years, when you have a business cycle established, you got set clients, you have processes in place, you got revenue coming in, then you can start doing financial predictions, right? So, for example, in the business world, everybody looks at things in quarters. Quarters is 3 months, right? It's a quarter of the year. So for me, my quarters start September, October, November, first quarter, November, December, January, second quarter, et cetera, et cetera. So when I had about 3 years of data, I remember going way back, I was able to start predicting my quarters pretty well because I had previous 3 years of information. And the business had stabilized to a certain extent. It was still a young company, it was still growing, but there was still something there for me to base a projection off of. So the projections were accurate, right? And I was able to judge whether or not the businesses were doing well in a given quarter because I had a few years of previous quarters behind me. Now, as the business becomes bigger, or even just more mature, meaning you've been out there longer and longer with the business year after year, it becomes easier and easier to be accurate with your predictions. So you see on TV, if you watch the stock market, everybody's predicting with these public companies what kind of sales they're going to have, what kind of profit margins they're going to have, and so on. And the stock's prices will go up and down based on expectations and results. In that context, it makes sense because these businesses are very well established. But new stuff, no. So going back to the YouTube thing, YouTube is a business, right? You make money with it if you get popular. Now, I don't have my YouTube channel, 129,000, 130,000. I think it's 129 as I record this video. And it generates revenue, but it's not really my focus. It's not my business. I do it. It's partly a hobby. It's good marketing. Yes, I make some money with it, but it's just a small sliver of what I do. And but I found, interestingly enough, when I committed about 2.5, 3 years ago to actually paying attention to the YouTube business, because I had it for a long time before. I just had one of my assistants throw up a bunch of videos we had, and I did things here and there, but it really didn't work it very often at all. But so about 2-3 years ago, I said, I'm going to do a video a day for 1 year. And it was an exercise in improving my ability to speak in front of the camera and just to see how things would go. And it just took off from there. And here we are. But it's not my focus. I am not a YouTuber by any means. But anyway, what was interesting about YouTube is that the same 3-year cycle happened. Like any business, it's like one of these universals. To establish yourself in any given thing, field, profession, it takes about 3 years. It takes 3 years of hardcore martial art training to get competent, like black belt level. It takes 3 years for most businesses to get on its feet. To become a really good developer, it takes about 3 years where you really, you can lead projects. Don't get me wrong. You can start learning to code today, and within a month to 2 months, you can start doing junior level, entry level work. There's no question about that. I've had many students who do that all the time. But yeah, that's weird. Universal principle, the 3-year principle holds true. So there you have it. I hope you see how I tied all these things together. Starting a business, becoming a freelancer, becoming an expert developer, becoming a jiu-jitsu black belt. 3 years is pretty fast. You have to be pretty good, but being competent, if you will. Anything, music. It's just the way it is for some reason. Our brains, this assumes a regular effort towards the goal, of course. So there you have it. So yeah, make your goals short term, make them process. The goal is to get out, to do your 5 videos today or your 3 videos today. The goal is to build an extra web page to your page today. The goal is to write 500 lines of code, et cetera, et cetera. The goal is to learn 1 new concept today. The goal is to reach out to 3 prospective clients today. Make the goals a process so you get the payoff, you get the reward, and you be in a good place. Don't set these arbitrary numbers. I'm going to have 10,000 subs, or I'm going to make 100,000 this year, or I'm going to be become an expert JavaScript developer within 6 months. Make it the process. Have it in the back of your mind, these goals. Like, I'm going to be really good at JavaScript in 3 to 6 months. Sure, but back of your mind. Give yourself some payoffs. Emotional payoffs are very important. All right, that's it for today. Bye-bye.